Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. Round 5 of the Taco Tuesday series takes us to the south of France near Marseille here in Le Castellet, the Paul Ricard circuit. Tom Cairns is your commentator and I'll be with you for the next couple of hours or so, providing you with the details of everything you need to know throughout this evening. We've got the final minutes of practice, which you can see on your screen, less than 13 minutes to go. We've got a 15-minute qualifying session to determine the grid for the race. That will be an hour long, so we are expecting the race to be around about 31 or 32 laps, no more than that. And in regards to the championship, well, Rapiduc can breathe a huge sigh of relief. What happened last week at Kyalami, he had a disconnection on the very last lap, but via the steward's discretion, he was awarded the win ahead of Dim Adjuster. So Rapiduc was able to take back-to-back victories, which has seen him extend his lead at the top of the championship to 46 points, which is more than a maximum score for a full round. So it's looking very, very likely he's going to be champion this season. Remember, there is a dropped score for all the drivers. So one of Rapiduc's results will have to be discounted. I'm sure he won't be too worried about that at all. And coming home in third place in Kyalami, that would be Drifter, who is around again this evening, one of the two reserve drivers. And looking at the numbers we've got for tonight, considering it's Valentine's Day today, so those who are with their loved ones, hope you have a really lovely day by any means. So looking at who is not around this evening. So Lewis Robinson is not around tonight. Davis Jr. isn't either. Jay Prentice, Rui, Andy and Palermo are not around, but the two reserve drivers are Brandon Glover and Drifter. Now, Brandon Glover has competed already this season at Suzuka in round 2, and he's rowing to give it another go this time around. Looking at the check-in, we've got 21 full-time drivers joining, as well as the two reserves, so we should have a 23-car grid for tonight, which is the least number of competitors in a race in Taco Tuesday in Tier 1 this season so far, but it's still not a bad amount by any means. And so far in this session, it is Law who's fastest, 1:54.5, 6/10 clear of Busov, who has been impressive so far in the 95 Audi, and then it's Vodka in third place, who put on a strong showing last week in Kyalami, a better time of it they had done in previous rounds. And then it's Hutchison in 5th place in the BMW. And we are at the halfway point of the season, round 5 out of 10. After Paul Ricard, we go to Barcelona next week for the second of the 3 special rounds. In case you were wondering what is a special round in Taco Tuesday, well, it's simply a 90-minute race instead of 60 as normal, with 2 mandatory pit stops included instead of 1. So that's what it's there for. We return to the old format the following week at Alton Park in the United Kingdom for go to Watkins Glen on March the 7th, Spa for the penultimate round on March the 14th, and then the final round, which will be the last of the special events, at Imola on March the 21st. We could well see the champion being crowned before then. We've got some racing lined up this evening anyway. And looking at the championship in the teams reckoning, I'm just trying to get that up at the moment, but whilst we are seeing that, Drifter has gone to 2nd place with a 1:55.1. So he's impressing in the 511 Aston Martin. It's a change of livery as well, actually, thinking of it, for Drifter. as he comes into the pits. It's a very tricky pit lane to get through here on this game at Paul Ricard's drifter makes his way back to the garage. So what was going to say about the Teams Championship, Tuga Racing, who are headed up by Rubber Duck and Rui, they are in the lead by 8 points over TK Rex Motorsport, who have Morex and Bar Club Provisional. And at a further point behind in third place is Promotion Motorsport, which Ray Thomas and Law are in that squad. And then it's the FRL Admin Elite Motorsports team in fourth, headed up by Hutchinson and Lewis Robinson. Now, only one of those drivers is in tonight, so it's all down to Hutchinson really to get the points that the team needs. And then not too far, it's very tight actually, thinking of it. I mean, if you look at the Tuga Racing team in the lead to Squeeze G Squirrels in 11th, 69 points adrift, those respective teams, and you can actually get a maximum score of 79 in one round. So Moggs has gone up to 6th place. He was one of the late arrivals for practice, but at least he's still getting some laps in before qualifying gets underway in less than 7 minutes' time. And there's Provisional, who had a brilliant time of it last week in Kyalami. He moved up to 5th place in the championship with a 6th place finish at Kyalami. It's been an impressive run. He'll be looking to continue that here. He's got a good chance to do that with the reduced grid for tonight. And for your information, Al Dory has changed his car again in the Audi there. So his score has been reset to 0 for the season now. And, well, we'll say Busov and Makovsky have also changed their cars, and therefore both drivers have lost their respective points totals prior to tonight. So they are clearly working on next season and perhaps the other championships which they are competing. Now Morex, who joins the lobby, I thought he was here for a moment ago. May come back in a little bit as Moggs makes his way back into the pit lane. So there's Drifter running in 3rd position, looking to build on a nice result last week. Now for your information, Drifter is the reigning champion in this series, in PS5 anyway. And last season he was 4th on this track. It was won by Milden in the PS5 Tier 1 tier, or in the Tier 1 category I should say. If you have joined us, we do welcome you. Do feel free to get involved in the live chat if you ever so wish to do so. And feel free to have a look in the YouTube description of all the leagues. The Formula Racing League website with all the details as well. There is also the Discord group that you can join. There's also the Facebook and Instagram pages to follow. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe in case you haven't already done so. We've already reached over 500 subscribers. And ideally by the end of 2023, we want to try and get to quadruple figures. In other words, 1,000. Well, Drifter has improved his time from before. It's a 1 minute 54.9, which moves him up into P2, behind Law, with Blair not too far back in third place. Babaduck, the championship leader, is up to fifth now in the low 1 minute 55s. And Vivka and Hutchinson. Mertens has got some work to do in the McLaren. Now, last season he was in Tier 2, and on this track he came home in 6th position, which wasn't too bad. So just less than 2 minutes to go as Glover looks to improve on his 18th position. P. David and Eldora have still yet to get a lap time on the board. Glover doesn't improve that time, but he will have one more go at it. So there's P. David in the Honda. And now Dory is just looking to get a lap in. So Clay in 12th position. He hasn't had the best of luck this season so far. He currently sits in 23rd position, with a best result of 11th at Silverstone. He's coming around the last corner now. He should be able to get over the line before the checkered flag falls, so he'll have one more go at trying to improve his lap time. So Clay over the line. He does not move up the order this time. So the checkered flag is out now. So let's see who else is on the circuit. We've got the 3-2-1 heading over the line, which is Frank, who ducks into the pits. The 690 of Glover coming up behind Aldori, both are crossing the line together, so we'll see how they get on here. Aldori heads over the line now, and it's only good enough for 20th position. Glover stays 19th, no improvement from him. And here, Papizzle, who is only 17th. This is going to be an improvement here as he crosses over the line. It is an improvement. It goes up to 13th place. That's more respectable. Mertens heads over the line now, and it's an improvement in lap time, but no improvement in position. Moritz has come back into the lobby, so he'll be back in time for qualifying. And we've just got one more driver who's going to be completing his lap as he crosses over the line before the checkered flag had fallen. So it gives Moritz some time to get his car set up for the qualifying session that is imminent. Moritz did win one of the races in the FRL in the Super Sunday Sprint. We'll be hoping to continue that form. I think he also won in Tier 1 last season on this track. He finished second, actually, so that, nevertheless, it's still a very respectable showing on that occasion, as well as what he did on Sunday. So Clay, does he improve on his time from before? We'll have a look to see, because he was 1.5 seconds off the fastest time. And he did move up the order into 11th place. So that's more like it from him. Qualifying is underway then. 22 drivers heading out on track. Now, given how long the circuit is, with the removal of the chicane on the Mistral Straight, it's a 5.7 kilometre circuit. It is a fast track, to be fair. First opened in 1970 before it hosted Formula 1 racing the following year. It's been off the Formula 1 calendar from time to time. Of course, Paul Ricard is no longer on the Formula 1 calendar, for a while at least. And through Dubose comes Rapid Duck. He'll be preparing to start his flying lap. We've seen more cars heading out of the pit lane, although some are staying put for the time being. Probably to find the gaps in the traffic. So Rapiduc is slowing down for the last turn. And now he begins a fast lap with Hutchison right behind, as they both begin their fast laps. So through turns 1 and 2, known as the Verrerie chicane. And now braking for the Hotel chicane, turns 3 and 4. Before you arrive for the 90-degree right-hander of Camp. And through Staybaum, which leads you onto the Mistral Straight. That's turn 7, of which Rapiduc in the green BMW. Striding through now. And now a long back straight before you arrive at scene. Rapiduc does not have any traffic issues at the moment. Just needs to focus on nailing every apex. Now, Paul Ricard is a circuit that can catch you out with track limits. So the drivers just need to be very wary of where they place their car, especially on the exit of turn number 8 on this layout. I was going to say number 10, but that's only if the chicane was in place on the Mistral Straight, but that's not there for this instance, so scene is going to be known as turn 8 for tonight. Rapiduc heading towards the left-hander of Tor and the sharp right-hander of Pont. And now he'll be heading over the line now. And this lap is a 1:55.4. Now, is anyone else going to beat that? Well, Hutchison won't. His lap time was invalidated for track limits. Bukowski goes second with a 1:56.5, or 6 I should say. Busov has gone straight to the top with 1:55.3 ahead of Pete David, who's up to second now in the Honda. And with Drifter cutting the margin between him and Busov to just a 100th of a second, but Busov is ahead for the time being. Bubka is next behind, just over half a tenth adrift of the Top Gun. And now Freeman, who's someone to look out for tonight. No lap time on this occasion. Aldori goes 6th though, with a 1:56.4. Leaves him in 7th place. MGK goes 6th, with 1:55.7. So just over 0.4 of a second separating the top 6 in the moment, but it's still early days in qualifying so far, with 10 minutes still remaining. Justice just started the fast lap as well. We've got the 3-2-1 exiting the last corner now. That is Frank. What is this lap time going to be for him? I think he might have exited the pits a bit later than the others. Only Prentice is stuck in the pit lane right now. Got Dimajust. No, it's not Dimajust, it's the 34 of Provisional going over the line. No time there. There's Moggs, race winner in Hungary. 4 weeks ago now. It must feel like a long time ago since he's picked up that win. But I can tell you that Hudson has gone to the top now. 155.2, over a 10 faster than what Busov had previously posted. Blair is 9th in the Mercedes AMG. And Freeman's gone off track there. I want to go back to Moggs though, because he's come round the last turn now. Got the number 14 Ferrari crossing over the line. And I think he might have gone second, actually. He has. Well, Moritz has displaced him because he's gone fastest now in the Mercedes AMG, 154.9. So Moritz carrying on his form from what he did in the Super Sprint Sunday series on Sunday. So a lot of time still to go yet as Frank is coming round in the McLaren. So this is Frank heading over the line. His qualifying hasn't been particularly good this season, though, I have to say. Now, Frank's best qualifying performance has been 7th at Silverstone. His form in the races haven't been quite as good. 16th at Hungaroring, 12th at Suzuka, DNF at Silverstone, and 19th in Kyalami. Provisional's gone 14th, Glover's 13th at the moment, Clate's 12th now. Rubber Duck is down to 8th. As P. David goes P2 with a 155.0. Moves him further up the order. Got the 152 of Blair going over the line. He's now 9th. We've got the 511 of Drifter going P2, just less than 0.03 of a second away. Got Mertens right behind, he's up to 15th position. So we've only got 6 drivers who have yet to post a lap time so far. Ray Thomas over the line, no time yet from him. Now there's Law, who's just staying out of the way of the drivers who are on fast laps. Now Frank in the 3-2-1 McLaren. Now onto the pit straight he comes. Less than 6 minutes to go, and he goes 15th. Not a bad time at all. Freeman comes out of the pit lane. Dimitrister still yet to get a time on the board. We've got the, what looks like the 34 of Provisional looking to improve. No improvement that time around. Got the 500 of Clate, who hasn't moved up the order, I don't think. Got the 14 of Moggs in the Ferrari. Heading over the line now, and it's still no improvement from him either. We've got the 217 of Makovsky. Less than 0.9 of a second away from the fastest time. We've got Al Dory Don't know where Aldori's ended up so far in this session. I think he's up to 10th place, actually, he is. So, not a bad performance so far. Ray goes 16th fastest, so the man who is in 2nd place in the championship overall. Will Freeman 19th, Dim Adjuster still trying to find time somewhere. But it's Moritz who's still remaining fastest on 1:54.7. Race winner at Suzuka. Looking to rebound from a poor run of form in the last couple of races. 7th in the championship overall. He could really do with a result. Vodka goes 4th now in the Porsche. And we've got P. David in 3rd position from around the last turn. And this time of his, if it is going to be improving, it's no improvement that time. Stays where he is. Now Moggs is coming round now in the Ferrari. Is he going to find anything this lap? 3/10 off the fastest. Still no improvement that time. Mertens. He's up to 9th place so far, is Mertens. He's doing a super job in this session so far, better than expected. 2500ths away from Rapidoc. Only 8th quickest. We've got number 15 of Aldori. Not moving up the order at the moment. We've seen that Ray's move up to 8th place now. We've got the 690 of Glover, who does not go up the order on this occasion. Got the 212 next up, which is Vivka. He'll have time to do at least another run, maybe 2 if he's lucky. Yeah, he's got an opportunity to get 2 more time laps in. So can Vivka get onto provisional pole? He's on the front row. 1:54.8. Less than a 10th away from pole position. So he's got a shot at it now. We've got Freeman heading over the line. We'll see where he ends up on the screen. And it doesn't look like he's got his time registered yet. So still exceeding track limits is Freeman. And Drifter's gone P2. Law goes up to P4 now. So it's hotting up as the track is getting quicker and quicker and quicker by the second. Drifter only just 1/100th away. Moggs and Hutchison are heading over the line now. Moggs does not move up the order. Hutchison stays in P8 as well. Rapidoc goes P4. Mertens doesn't improve, I don't think. Well, he might have done actually. 7/10 off the pace. Got the 217 of Makovsky next. And he does not move up the order either. So he stays in P14. Got the 58 of Ray heading over the line again. And he goes up to 6th. So that's more like it from Ray. Got the 690 of Glover from round the last turn. And see how close the times are. Can Glover narrow the gap down? He can't, but he'll have one more go at it. We've got the 434 next. That is Dim Adjuster, who's only 19th. The man who finished runner-up last week. And Kyalami not quite finding the same level of form here so far. 15 seconds to go. He'll get over the line before the checker flag falls. So Dim Adjuster will get one more go at it. But will this be an improvement from before? The answer to that question is yes. He goes up to 14th. He knows there's still more time to be found. Checker flag out. Freeman heading over the line. This needs to be a good lap. It's not. It's only good enough for 20th place. So Freeman, with a lot of work to do in the race, he could even move further down the order if he's unlucky. Well, L. Prentice has been in the pits. He hasn't been out on track, I don't think. So Freeman, I think, will probably end up 20th on the grid. Law has gone to pole position, though. 154.5. Morix is in the pits, so Morix will not be on pole position. Vodka won't be on pole either. Rapidoc won't be. Ray, possibly. Busov is coming into the pits as well. No, he's not. He's completing his lap time. It's not an improvement, so he stays where he is. Blair is coming into the pits. We've got the 2:17 of Makovsky. Continues on to complete his lap. And it's not an improvement either, so he stays where he is. Now, Ray, can he take pole position away? No, he won't. Got Aldori next. It's an improvement in lap time by half a tenth, but it's not good enough to move him up the order, so he stays in 13th. So we've got the 690 next. That is Brandon Glover. He'll be the last driver over the line, I believe. So he's 21st at the moment. Does he move up the order? He does not move up the order. So at the end of that, it is Law in the Mercedes AMG on pole position by 0.2 of a second from Morix in the Mercedes AMG. So we've got two Mercedes on the front row. Drifter in third place. Brilliant effort from him. Ahead of Vodka in the Porsche, continuing his good form from last week. Rapidoc, fifth on the grid, ahead of Ray Thomas, his nearest championship rival. P. David and Moggs are on the fourth row, with Busov and Hutchinson running out the top 10. We've got Blair and Mertens on the sixth row. Aldori and Dimajuster are on row 7. Makovsky and Frank on row 8. Clay and MGK on the 9th row. Papizel down lower than we expected him to be in the Audi. He's only 19th with Freeman. A lot of work to do there from 20th place. On the back row, we've got Brandon Glover and Prentice. So we've got 22 drivers on the grid for tonight. And the formation that will begin in a few minutes' time. Another championship point going in the way of Law, who went into this round 14th in the table, and that extra point has moved him 1 point behind 13th place man Blair. Now Law has already missed a race this season, so he will not need to drop a score at the end of the season. So the drivers just making their final setups before we get underway here. Now Law has become the 5th different pole sitter this season in Tier 1 in Assetto Tuesday. I'm just looking at Will Freeman because he's gone into this round 3rd in the championship and he's starting on the 10th row of the grid. So he'll have to carve his way through the field anywhere he can, really. He's just got to hope he doesn't end up in any first corner of any first lap mayhem, which could compromise his race absolutely horribly. And the good news with this circuit is there's plenty of runoff area in case you lock a brake or carry too much speed into the corner. We got less than 3 minutes to go before the formation lap. Now I'd say it would be another 4 minutes at least before this race begins. So I've already mentioned we are approaching the halfway point in the season now. After we've done this round, we'll be halfway through it. It's been a compelling championship so far with plenty of different drivers at the front. But it's Rapidoku who's been by far the most consistent out of all of them. Let us know who your money is on for the victory. Now, Law hasn't won a race yet this season. His best result has been 6th at Silverstone. Track temperature of 21 degrees Celsius, 17 degrees air temperature. The track is in its optimum window. We are not expecting any rain during the course of the race, which is good to see. I wonder how strategy will play its role in the race itself. Hopefully we'll get to see all 22 drivers making the checker flag. Just to remind you on the point system, you have 40 points for a race victory, 38 for second, 36 for third. It's a 2-point difference between each position in the top 11 finishes, and then it's a 1-point difference between 11th all the way down to 30th. So essentially, if you finish the race, you will score points. And the formation up is underway now. We're just waiting for the cars to move off the starting line. Or the start line, I should say. So a rundown on the grid again in case you've just joined us. So Law is on pole position ahead of Morex, with Drifter and Vodka next behind. Then we've got Rapidoku and Ray Thomas on the third row of the grid, with P. David and Moggs next behind on the fourth row, with Busov and Hudson rounding out the top 10. Then we've got Blair and Mertens on the sixth row of the grid. Mertens with his best qualifying so far this season. Aldori and Dimajuster are 13th and 14th. Makovsky and Frank are 15th and 16th, with Clay and MGK on the ninth row. Pozizil and Freeman could be two of the drivers to watch out for at the beginning of the race, with Glover and Prentice right at the back. 22 cars in the field tonight. It's the lowest we've had so far this season, but hopefully it won't be any lower than that in the forthcoming races. We go to Barcelona next week, then to Alton Park, followed by Watkins Glen, Spa-Francorchamps and Imola. And you can see Law back in the field up very early on it in the lap here at Paul Ricard. Now, this Paul Ricard circuit has as many as 167 different configurations that could be used. Of course, not all of them are FIA Grade 1. Now, do you even remember the short layout that Formula 1 did use in the late 80s in response to the tragic loss of Elio De Angelis during a test for Brabham in 1986. It was a very hard time, and he was a brilliant race winner. It was Elio De Angelis, a two-time race winner, the first one coming with the Lotus team at the Austrian Grand Prix in 1982, when he had that drag race to the line with Keke Rosberg. And the other one was also with Lotus in 1985 at the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, although he was credited the victory after the race when Alan Prost's car was deemed to be underweight by 2 kilograms. And Paul Ricard has hosted some interesting races in the past. I even remember in 1990 where Ivan Capelli in the Leighton House of all teams, or of all cars, was leading for a lot of the race until an engine issue slowed him down in the closing laps, and Alan Prost in the Ferrari overtook him for the win. But Capelli was able to bring the car home in second place, which is absolutely phenomenal, because the round before that in Mexico City, neither of the Leighton House cars had qualified. And of course we did see that race in 2021. There was a battle of strategy between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen making the two-stop strategy work to win out in the end, which did prove to be very crucial in the race for the title by the end of it. Here we go then for a 1 hour race here at Paul Ricard, round 5 of the Taco Tuesday series in Tier 1. And the green flag is shown right now. Here we go. So it's Law. He'll be on the left-hand side going into turn 1. Watch out for Vodka in the Porsche. He's coming up behind Morex. And we've also got a battle between Rapidoc and Drifter. And there's contact made. And Rapidoc had to go through the escape road. And there's plenty of cars going through the runoff. But Law has remained intact. I think Vodka's dropped down heavily there in all of that. So Law leads. We've got Morex in second place. Then it's Drifter in the Aston Martin in third. And it's Rapidoc, despite running wide, is up there in fourth position. As we see the drivers go through sector 1. And we'll have a clear view on the positions. So it's Law who's leading. Morex, Drifter, Rapidoc boosts off your top 5. Then it's Hutchison in the BMW in 6th place with Moggs. Vodka down to 8. Blair and Dim Adjuster are 9th and 10th. And we've got Will Freeman is up there in 14th position. Ray Thomas has dropped back to 21st, and P. Davis down in 22nd and last place. So they've got some work to do. And now we're seeing a battle. We've got a drag race actually to turn 8, with Moggs going for it on Vodka. And he should be able to get through. Vodka running really wide there at scene. Plenty of drivers running wide. Moggs gets through into P7. Blair down to 11th place now. We've got Mertens ahead of Frank, who's been overtaken by Freeman by the looks of it. So Freeman's up to 13th place in the Audi. He's made up 7 positions so far. As the drivers are approaching the end of the first lap. So it's Law in the lead. So 1 lap done. And we've got Rapidoc who's under threat from Busov, who's trying to go round the outside now. Busov, if you remember, he has switched cars before this evening, which has resulted in his point score being reset. He's making the most of it here so far. He tries to go round the outside of Rapidoc, which did not pay off, because now he's left himself open to Hutchison, who's about to pounce here as they come towards turn 3. Hutchison on the inside, doesn't go for it there. Moggs and Vodka fighting it out for P7. It looks like Vodka has got the moved on round the outside into turn 3, and he goes up into 7th position. So it's a super start so far from the drivers. There were incidents aplenty. There were a few spinners at the first turn on the opening lap. It looks like P. David is in the pits to get some repairs done. He'll be able to use that as his mandatory stop. The pit window does open a minute after the race begins. But P. David's going to find himself with too much to do. And I think we could well have a battle going on here between Moggs and Vodka by the looks of it. Or is that Dim Adjuster trying to make a move? I think it's Dim Adjuster. He's trying to go round the outside. He's had a brilliant start to the race. As he's coming through now, but Moggs keeps hold of 8th position. Al Dory holding off Blair. Mertens ahead of Freeman, who's back there with Frank. for 13th place. Frank nearly losing it in Debose, but keeps the car pointing the right way. Now, P. David was involved in the first lap incident at Suzuka, which compromised his race heavily. He finished at the back by the end of it. He's done his stop now, but the problem he's going to face is being lapped by the whole field. Yeah, he's staying out of the way of those coming down the pit lane, which is not a bad idea, to be fair. So we've got Law in the lead, but Moritz is not far behind him. And we've got Drifter in third position, ahead of Rapid Duck. And we've got Vodka in seventh place, but we're just watching Dim Adjuster because he had a look at Moggs going into turn 3, but thought better of it. And as we watch the battle there between Frank and Clate for 14th position. So Clate thinking about a move, he gets into the slipstream. Will he have a go at the end of the straight? We just watch Vodka, who's just got in front of Hutchison actually, thanks to the slipstream, and he was able to get through. So Vodka up to 6th now. Rapid Duck in 4th. Drifter 3rd, ahead of Moritz and Law. Or behind Moritz and Law, I should say. Now, if the results was to stay as it wouldn't be a bad result for Rapid Duck by any means. With Ray well down the order and Freeman down the order as well, he will have a very, very handsome lead. He's already got a handsome lead already, but it could get even better. With Davis Jr. not around tonight, for Vissel well down the order as well. It's not been a bad evening so far for Rapid Duck. There's still a long way to go yet. And I think P. David has retired in the pits. He's disconnected from the service, so that could well be his race over, unfortunately. So he's gone for this one as we watch Bsov go right round the outside of Rapid Duck into turn 4, but Rapid Duck will have the inside line for 5. He keeps his nose in front for now. And now as they come into the backstretch, you just watch Hutchison running wide there at turn 6, and that's going to allow Moggs to go through. Moggs had to run wide. The two don't make contact. Dim Adjuster will go right up into the slipstream of the Ferrari and the BMW as well. And I think he could well get past the pair of them here, almost bump drafting them. And now he's going to slide his way past the pair of them. Down the middle he goes. And I think Dim Adjuster, is he going to get through? No, Moggs is still ahead, but Dim Adjuster is ahead of Hutchinson. So Dim Adjuster is through and up to 8th now. Hutchinson ahead of Aldori, Blair and Mertens are still right in there as well. So this is lap 4 of the race that's about to be completed by the race leader. Vodka in 5th place now, ahead of Rapid Duck. So Rapid Duck has dropped down a couple of positions this lap. I'd imagine he'll probably want to play the long game here. So far, so good for Law, but there's still a long way to go yet. Moritz with the fastest lap of the race so far. He had set that time on the 2nd lap. As they go into the Mistral Straight. And Drifter on his own though in third place. He'll be content with that. Rapid Duck will be looking to stay in touch with Vodka and Busov in that particular fight. And Hutchinson has dropped down to 11th position, so he's made a mistake somewhere. And Merton's having a respectable time of it here at Paul Ricard. It's one of those old school racetracks where you would be able to learn the ropes of this circuit. And I think Freeman's dropped down the order because he's dropped a long way down. He's down to 19th position. And Frank has made a mistake as well. So I wonder if those two have come together a lap or so ago. So there's your top two in the Mercedes AMG. Both of them in Mercedes AMGs. Law in the 226, Moritz in the 99. So Rapid Duck is in 6th place, Moggs 7th. There's Dim Adjuster, Blair and Hutchinson. Mercer's up to 11th now. I think Aldori's dropped back. He's made a mistake somewhere, so he's down to 14th position. And looks like the skies are beginning to darken and the driver's headlights are being used, so I'd imagine that it'll be darkness before the checkered flag. As we mentioned, his Prentice is up there in 17th position. He's kept his car out of trouble so far. And it looks like Freeman has made another mistake and he's dropped behind Glover now. So Freeman really struggling in the opening part of this race. We are 11 minutes in as Moritz runs wide. Now track limits can catch you out on this circuit. We have seen it in the past. Moritz just taking a slightly wider line just to gain some extra speed on the exit. Now Law and Moritz are heading down the pit straight now. And the gap is half a second between the two, but to be honest, you don't need me to tell you what the gap is. You can see it in your picture. Moggs in 7th, Dim Adjuster, Blair, Hutchinson, Mertens, MGK, all fighting for 8th position. We're beginning to spread out now as we watch Aldori make a move on Ray Thomas, who just got ahead of him on the previous lap. Aldori goes straight on though. He carried a bit too much speed now. He needs to be careful not to rejoin into the path of the other drivers, and he doesn't do so. He's dropped down behind Proviso now in 16th. It looks like Freeman has made another mistake somewhere on the last lap, so he's continuing to fall back. And now this is a battle we need to watch because Moritz is right into the slipstream of Law, who goes defensive. Goes to the right-hand side. He forces Moritz to go to the outside. Now is Moritz going to get through on the outside? It looks like he's got his nose in front there as they go through. Moritz runs wide. Comes back on. He's not quite ahead yet. Law protects his line of position. Moritz will be back for more though. That's the closest we've seen so far between the leaders. Keep their noses clean. Enormous respect between the two drivers. Trusting each other's abilities to leave each other space when needed. 7 laps completed, and Law stays in front, but will it be Morex in the lead very soon? And Vodka is running in 5th position ahead of Rapidoc, who's all over the back of his gearbox. And Ray has dropped down the order now. He's made a mistake in the last sector. Not sure how that happened, but he's down to what looks to be 21st place now by the looks of it, unless that's a mistake on the timing graphic. He should be in front of Papizzle. So just hope to see that the graphic does actually update itself properly the next time he goes through it. And there's the top 2. Law ahead of Morex. And it looks like Morex is on the inside this time. Here we go, look. Morex in the pink and blue Mercedes AMG getting past and goes into the lead here at Paul Ricard. That was a very neat manoeuvre. Law left him enough space on the inside. He decided not to fight it on this occasion. And so Morex is through and into P1. Quarter of the race gone now. So far so good. Law had a look back on the inside, tried to give Morex a bit of a fright. But Morex wasn't having any of it. And Law thinking about a move. He'll probably do it on the Mistral straight next time around. Through turns 1 and 2 they go. Morex ahead of Law. Drifter and Busov next behind. There's Vodka and Rapidoc in 5th and 6th. And it's showing that Ray is down 2 laps on the leaders. I don't know what's happening with his timing screen. He may have a case on it later. We'll probably know what position he's meant to be in. But I will tell you, he's not up there in the higher positions. So looking further back, in the battle for 5th place, Vodka ahead of Rapidoc. And that's Rapidoc on the inside there of Vodka. Now will the BMW driver go through on this occasion? Vodka leaves him enough space. Rapidoc will go to the outside into the left-hander of Bendor before they head through Garlaban. It's the Porsche who remains in front. And Morex is beginning to pull out a margin now over Law. 1.1 seconds is the gap between those two. Moggs ahead of dim adjuster, Hutchinson in 9th. Well, looking at Ray Thomas here, because he's just coming into the pits now. And his timing graphic is not quite updating itself, so I don't know if we'll really know until the end of the race what his finished position will be. Well, Morex is on the Mistral straight now. I think Ray may be out of the race here. This is lap 10. Rapidoc's dropped back a little bit from Vodka now, whilst dim adjuster looks to fend off from Hutchinson. Goes right up to the gearbox of the Audi. Goes to the outside. Wheel to wheel. Looks like Hutchinson is ahead on the exit. And Joster has to slot in behind. Whistle in faulty. Oh, that's a spin for Aldori. Does he get out of the way? No, he doesn't. And there's contact between him and what looked like McCoskey that he had come together with. Damage to the bonnet of McCoskey there. I would imagine that Aldori's got damage as well on the front. So both of them will be in the pits, I would imagine, at the end of this lap. It moves Prentice up a couple of positions at least. I'll move up a position. Boots off with the fastest lap of the race now in the Audi. There's Moritz in the lead still. Aldori in the pits. Mikowski's decided to stay out though. And Ray has got back into the race, but his graphic is not quite updating itself at the moment. It's showing he's 4 laps down, but I'm sure that's not correct. We'll know at the end of the race what it should be. He's pretty much out of the fight really for a top 10 finish. And Moritz running wide there at turn 8. Just needs to be very careful. Doesn't do that too many times. Vodka and Rapidoc fighting over 5th and 6th. Moggs and Hutchinson ahead of Dim Adjuster. And Clayton running wide there. So Aldori is exiting the pit lane now, but he's going to go down a lap on the leaders. So he needs to get on with it here. So we're over a third of the race done as Blair comes in for his mandatory pit stop. So we're hoping he won't get blue flagged by the time the leaders come round. He probably won't. And we've also got McCoskey in the pits. Things like Blair and Koski are in the pits. Definitely changing tyres. You need to change tyres when you come in for a mandatory pit stop in terms of whether they choose to refuel or not. And that's another question as well. Moritz still in the lead. Law is in second place. It's Drifter third. A couple of seconds ahead of Busov as Drifter runs wide there through turn 10. And Rapidoc also making the same mistake, and that's going to allow Moggs to close back in on him. We've got Dim Adjuster in 10th position ahead of Mertens. So Mertens is in P11, keeping his nose out of trouble so far. Or keeping his nose clean, as the old say. Drifter is in P3. Still, as we watch further back, I think that's Makovsky. Battling it out with Aldori for what looks to be the 19th position. I think Ray Thomas may be ahead of those two, but we'll find out at the end of the race what his position actually is, because it's not updating itself on the timing pages from my end. And Kevin McKenzie giving us an update on his situation. He has missed the last few rounds due to other commitments. Thank you for taking the time to let us know, Kevin. It's good to hear. Good to hear from you. Vodka holding off Rapiduck and Moggs in the fight for 5th. I wonder how long it'll be before we start seeing the leaders coming in. Well, Mark stays out, as does Law. And now we've got Moggs in P7, Hutchison 8th. Although Hutchison has dropped back, actually, he's made a mistake somewhere, so Hutchison is down to 10th place. And looming down on him is the McLaren of Mertens. Clayt is in 12th. It's Bavizzel, Prentice and Glover in 13th, 14th and 15th. Freeman comes in for his momentary stop now. Onto the back straight. Freeman is hoping he won't be in the pits for too long. So Freeman has done his stop. He should get out before the leaders come round. Looks like Bousov is continuing to close in on Drifter in the fight for 3rd place as we watch a battle going on. I think that's a back marker moving out of the way. I think that's Makovsky moving out of the way of... Oh no, he's in the battle with what looks to be Aldori. So they're fighting over position still. We've got Rapiduck in the pits now. So he's making his move as we approach the halfway point in this race. Here they come as Moritz leads Law 0.6 of a second. You know that can change. As they go through. Scene and now Debose. Duck has done his stop now, so he should rejoin in some clear air. Law having a look on the inside. Cannot do it there into turn number 9. So the top two going through turn one. No change in position between these two since Moritz took the lead. And we could well be seeing a change for third place in a minute, because Busov is right behind Drifter as Moggs and MGK head for the pits. They were running in 6th and 7th before they drove in. And Glover also taking the moment to join in. Busov is the fastest man on circuit. He's too far back to go, I think, on Drifter. He didn't have the best of exits coming out of turn number 6. And Dimijosta has also gone into the pits in the Audi 434. As we watch Moritz and Law continue to do battle, as Busov is right behind Drifter again. I don't know if Busov is running more straight line speed as opposed to downforce in comparison to what Drifter is doing. Drifter is doing the best he can at the moment. He's not going to be fighting it out for the win, I don't think. Unless Law and Moritz come together at some point. Now, who is ducking into the pits first? Are they doing it at the same time? They're both coming at the same time. So Moritz and Law are in. Drifter and Busov. Well, Busov comes in as well, although he's overstepped his marks. Did he go in there a bit too quickly? Vodka is also heading for the pits. Ahead of Clay. We've got Mertens and Prentice. Provizzle right behind also. Now Prentice is coming into the pits. Provizzle stays out. Plenty of drivers in the pit lane now. 5 on this lap. And Hutchison is now up to 2nd place on track. Clay is 3rd. Mertens 4th. Provizzle 5th. And Moritz is still in front of Law as they exit the pits now together. So Law in 6th, Busov 7th. Vodka 8th. Though Moritz is not. I think the gaps haven't quite updated themselves in terms of where they are positioned in the pit lane. So Moritz is in P6 on track. Frank is in the pits now. So the only drivers yet to pit are those in the top 5. And it looks like Drift is also heading for the pits. And Hudson and Clay battling it out for what is P2 on track, which could be the lead in the moment, unless either of them heads for the pits. Well, they're both heading for the pits, actually. Mertens stays out, though. And Provizzle comes in the Audi. So Mertens is the only driver now yet to make a pit stop. Aldori's back in the pits as well, so I wonder if he's hit trouble. So Mertens has the opportunity to lead at the front. Moritz goes back through in second place ahead of Law. Busov is... Just looking to see if is he ahead of Drifter yet, or is he... I think Drifter's got out behind Law, but he's ahead of Busov still. So it's just as you were, just waiting for the sets of times to update so we know the correct positions. There is the McLaren, the 555 McLaren of Mertens. Doing a fine job tonight, better than we have seen in previous rounds, but he still has that mandatory stop to make. If he can pull out some more lap times, then he may be able to scrape into the top 10, but he's coming in now. So the last driver due to pit is in the pits. Drifter trying to hold off Busov at the moment. Vodka is ahead of Ricard in the fight for what will be 5th place. MGK is ahead of Moggs as well. There's Mertens in the pit still. Law is in 2nd place now. Drifter goes back up to 3rd. Busov now 4th. Vodka 5th. Ricard 6th. MGK will move up into 7th place, although Mertens has done his stop, but the 2 Ferraris are going to go through ahead of him. And we've got a stop and go penalty being dished out to Mertens for speeding in the pit lane. That's a huge, huge shame. Just looking to see where he's come back out. He's ahead of the 12th place man of Clay. So as Mertens rejoins in 11th, but that'll be well lower than that now, as he's been hit with a stop and go penalty. He'll lose at the very minimum a minute by being in the pits. Not good news for him. It was running really well up until that point. So looking at the situation in the championship, as we've got a drive-through penalty now given to Drifter for track limits. He's let Busov through, so Drifter will be in the pits within the next 3 laps to get that drive-through served. And that's a podium finish gone and out of the window now. So it's not going to be 2 podiums in a row for Drifter in Taco Tuesday. So as the 2 drivers come through, Drifter's staying out for now. Where's this going to drop him down? Oh, it's going to drop him down heavily. He'll lose at least probably 10 positions. The gap between Moritz in the lead and Moritz in P2 is 1.5 seconds. Drifter is in 4th position. Will lose at least about 30 seconds in the pits, I would imagine. And Mertens is in the pits to get his stop and go penalty done. Just hope he's so down to the pit lane speed limit this time. The stop go penalty is cleared now for Mertens, and he's down to 19th place. So Moritz has had his lead up down to 1.1 seconds in sector 2. Drifter staying out for now, trying to reach out a gap over the others behind. He's got one more lap to go, but they has to come in. Vodka in 5th place. Ricard will be moving up to 5th in a moment once Drifter comes in for his drive-through. Freeman may move up 1 position, that's little consolation for his race. And Ray Thomas, by the looks of it, should be shown in 16th position, but we'll have a look at the end of the race where he actually ends up. So half a second is the gap between the two. So will Drifter come in to get that drive-through penalty serve? Now he will do. Just needs to make sure he slows down to the pit lane speed limit. So Vodka will go through, Ricard will go through, MGK, Moggs, Blair, Hutchison and Clay will go through. It must feel like an eternity for Drifter. Now when will he deactivate the pit lane speed limiter? So it's got a bit to go still. The pit lane speed limiter is off, he's behind Hutchison. And he's down to 10th place now. And we've got another drive-through penalty being given. And it's Moggs has been just with that for track limits. So he'll be the next one heading for the pits within the next 3 laps. Beginning to see some drivers getting caught out by track limits. So Drifter down to 10th place. He'll go back up to 9th once Moggs comes in for his drive-through. And Laura's posted the fastest lap of the race. When did he do that lap time? He did it on lap 20. So it was the last lap but 1 that he did it on. There's Hutchison in 9th position. Well, there's Hutchison, I should say. Drifter isn't too far back. So there is Moggs. He'll be in the pits to get that drive-through done. Right now, he'll lose at least 6 positions. He'll be down to 15th place. There's Frank and Dim Adjuster fighting what should be 17th and 17th and 18th, but he's showing it 16th and 17th because of Rayton's not been shown on the timing pages properly. He's saying he's 16 laps down, but I don't think he is that far down. Oh, you can see Mark's running wide a little bit, and Law is closing back in again. The battle for the win is far from over. 15 minutes to go. I would say we've got 8 laps to go after this one. And Freeman is in 14th position at the moment, behind Prentice. Oh, and you can see Prentice sliding through Beausset. And Freeman can't quite get past. As we watch Freeman go for a move on Prentice. He heads to the inside. Will Prentice know that he's there? Freeman decides not to go for it on this occasion, and so he hangs back. Law within 0.4 of a second now of Morex. And Busov will be very happy with a podium finish here tonight. Perhaps switching over to a different car has played out well for him in the previous rounds. In the car he was in, he only managed 12th, 6th, 12th and 11th, which were decent results, it has to be said, but clearly he wanted more. There we go on the back straight. Is Law going to be close enough to have a go? Probably not this time around, but he's going to be very much within range to have a go at some point. And 0.2 is the gap. Law not quite going for it on this occasion, but if he gets closer to Morex next time around on the Mistral Straight, he should be able to do it. And Hutchison is ahead of Drifter, who's got ahead of Clate. So Drifter is up. Well, Drifter dropped down to 10th place before Moggs had his penalty, so Drifter's up to 9th, but he could be 8th. To get by Hutchison at the end of the back straight. Goes for the move on the inside, and there should be a change in position. And Drifter gets through and up to 8th place now. Just needs to be careful to keep his car within track limits this time. Next man ahead of him is Blair, who is around about 3.5 seconds up the road. There's Morix, and there's Law. Six laps to go. Now Morix has already won a race this season. Law has yet to win a race. And Freeman is past Prentice. He's up to 13th position now. I think Prentice made a mistake somewhere and has dropped back, so he's behind Moggs now in 15th position. Now as we watch Law approaching the rear of Morix as they go through Scene. Drift it on the back straight. So there's Drifter in 8th, Hutchinson 9th, and Clayton 10th. And Law is still hustling with Morix for the lead. He won't want to throw second place away. And Aldori's in the pits. He's probably had enough for today. Very close in the fight for the lead still. Morix looking to keep his slim chances of the championship alive. He was 67 points behind Rapid Duck going into this round. That's going to be cut down to, well, by 8 points, I should say. So he will be 59 points off the top. As for Rapid Duck, well, he's going to be collecting 32 points, which will move his total on to 185. Ray Thomas, who may not get points, if he doesn't get any points, will stay where he is, and Will Freeman will move in front of him. So Freeman, who's running in 13th, would collect 18 championship points. Moving on to 123. So the gap at the top will be increased. And the gap will be 62 points after this round, which is a very, very healthy lead. But it's not over yet. The battle for the win is still on, with 4 laps to go. Aldori has rejoined the circuit, albeit a few laps behind, but he should be able to still get points. And it looks like Drifter's dropped back down to 10th position. I'm not sure what's happened, but he's had a moment somewhere and he's dropped back. It's been a race to forget, really. And what I will say is there's still time for track limit penalties to be dished out. Anyone exceeding track limits too many times. Now Morix And Law going through. And they're coming up behind Mertens now, who's about to be lapped. So he won't want to get in the way of the leaders. And we could well see Law going for a move here. He may not do it into turn one. He'll probably do it on the Mistral straight. He just needs to stay right up to the slipstream of the 99 ahead of him. Riding over the curves. He's dropped back a little bit after that. If he can just get a good exit coming out of turn 6, he might just be within range to have a go. Yeah, I think this is going to be Law's best chance to go for it here. Exiting turn 7. And Law. He's closing. I think Moritz is going to have enough of a margin really at the end of this straight to keep hold of the place. So Moritz goes defensive, Law goes to the outside. Can't quite do it there. So, oh, he has gone for it. Law's right round the outside, he's got through! So Law has got past Moritz for the lead with over 2 laps to go. A brilliant manoeuvre. So Law, who lost the lead earlier on, at the same point to Moritz, has got back ahead of him at that same corner, and that could well have decided the race here at Paul Ricard. Excellent manoeuvre. Moritz had to be kind there on the inside, otherwise the two would have come together. But Law is through with 2 laps to go, and I don't think Moritz is going to come back from that now. Busov is in 3rd place at the moment still. Vodka. Rapidoc has dropped back from the Porsche. We've got a 3-car battle for 8th position because Hutchinson, Clayton, Drifter are fighting over that. So this will go to the checker flag most certainly. We've got Clay and Drifter next in the last turn. And I think we're going to see Drifter go for it here. And now we're on the penultimate lap of the race as Law is trying to make his way through a back marker of Mertens. It looks like Moritz has made a mistake somewhere, he's dropped back, so it looks like he's run out of tyre grip by this stage. The battle for 8th is still raging on as Clay looks to make a move on Hutchinson. And he's diving to the inside and he's got through before they even get to the turn. 1 lap to go then for race leader Law. 3 seconds in front of Moritz. Drifter trying to make a move on Hutchinson again, this time for 9th place. So Law is about to take his first win of the season. It's been a brilliant battle between Law and Moritz throughout this race, all the way to the end. And now Law is coming up to lap what looks to be Mikowski, who's at a below par race again, but at least he'll still score points by finishing. So here they come then. Law looks to lap the Aston Martin. Should stay out of the way here. He probably won't want to complete another lap. So Law goes past. One more corner to get through now, and Law will see the checker flag in sight. Here is the Mercedes AMG driver, Law, returning to form. And he's about to take to the top step. Law wins at Paul Ricard in Taco Tuesday in the FRL. Very well done to him. Moritz crosses over the line in second place. Busov will be on the podium for the first time this season. Very well done. It was very much worth switching to that new car. Vodka, continuing his good form, will be up there in fourth place. And it's Rapid who extend his lead at the top of the championship in fifth position. MGK, we haven't seen too much of him in this race, but he's going to bring the car home in sixth, with Blair, Clayt, Hudson and Drifter rounding out the top 10. And it's Glover, who we haven't seen too much of this evening either, but he'll be 11th, ahead of Bizzle, with Freeman down in 13th place. It's not been a good event for him tonight, but at least he moves up to second place in the championship. And that's Ray Thomas there, who I think should be in 15th place. We'll find out what his actual position is as we watch the rest of the other drivers make their way over the line. Moggs will be another disappointed driver after that in 14th. And we've got the rest of the drivers coming home. Dim Adjuster, podium finisher last week, 17th this week. But there's your race winner. It's Law in the Mercedes AMG here at Paul Ricard. I'm just waiting for Aldori to head over the line now as well. And then we'll run down the final results. He's ducking into the pits actually, he's Aldori, but he should cross over the line any moment now. Moritz in second position as well. We have got a car out on the circuit at the moment. Bizzle is circulating round. Just trying to have a look at the race results in the moment. But Law is your race winner with Moritz in second place. It's Busov ahead of Vodka, Raboduck in fifth ahead of MGK and Blair, Clayt, Hutchison and Drifter running up the top 10 ahead of Glover and Bizzle. Freeman was 13th ahead of Moggs, and it's Prentice in 15th position. That may well be Ray Thomas in that position. We've got a few drivers that have left the server already, so we'll run down the final results. There we go, look. So Ray Thomas is shown in 21st place, although that may get amended by the stewards afterwards. So Frank in 16th position, Dim Adjuster 17th ahead of Mikowski, Mertens in 19th position ahead of Aldori, who made it to the end. Ray Thomas was shown in 21st. I'm not sure if he'll get the points for that though, and P. David retired earlier on. So in regards to the championship, Law has extended his gap at the top to 62 points. The points gap will be updated with the dropped points score included, so it may look different in comparison to what I've already mentioned. I'm sure you'll find that out on the Formula Racing League website to find out where exactly the drivers are in this respective tier. Thank you very much for watching this. Do make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll do it all again next week at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the 90-minute special. So do make sure you tune in then. Same time next week. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.